So here is an RCA. I don't remember the model offhand, but it's a very large Bakelite radio. 1950s, early 50s. It has the knobs on the side, which these have been replaced. Now, this is not my radio. A friend of mine asked me to fix it for him. He says it works, but the controls are really staticky and the band switch is difficult and so on. And he wanted me to kind of see what I can do. Now, I'm sure it's going to need all the usual capacitors and everything else that a 70-year-old radio is going to need. He made these knobs for it out of knobs from something else, painted them silver or gold, and he made a back panel for it because it was missing. Yes, this does have a power transformer. Kind of a nice set, actually. You've got a 6V6 in here, and the terrible IF transformers that I really hope are not bad because I don't want to deal with those. So here's the underside of the chassis. You can see lots of paper caps. Looks like the electrolytic, which is a Mallory, was replaced at some point, and apparently it's still good. From what my friend says, it does not hum at all. This was replaced, again, an electrolytic. And then we have one other one here, that black and orange one, which is a film, well, dye film cap, and that will just stay. I'm not going to change that. So there's about, I don't know, a dozen or so paper caps to replace. This is a choke of some sort. And then you've got, let's see, you got this whole sealed box, which I'm probably not going to mess with. That's all the FM circuitry, and I think there's a couple paper caps down here. Then I've got to clean all the controls. So let me start with that. Okay, I started changing some capacitors. I've only got a few left. I'm really not sure about these electrolytics. You know, if this were my radio and I knew I was going to use it a lot, I would change them because they're old. That being said, I know my friend wants to put it on a shelf, and maybe he'll turn it on briefly here and there. I just wanted to point this out. One of the capacitors that this uses is a 0.0033 at 1,000 volts. This is a replacement for that. It's tiny. It's so small, I don't even know where I'm going to put it, but it's, of course, buried in there because why wouldn't it be? Yeah, so I'm going to have to figure that out, see if I can get that in there. I don't know if it uses any more of those crazy values, but I looked on the schematic before I started working on this, and I wanted to make sure I had that. And that's the one thing they didn't have. So we'll try it. We'll see what happens. Weird value and high voltage. I'm guessing it must be something to do with the spikes from the output transformer, voltage spikes. I don't know. Okay, we've got most of the caps replaced. It is interesting how many hours this has on it. You can see all the tube sockets are black, and the tubes were all replaced, every single one of them. So this thing has been played to death. But, it also shows you how resilient these things are. It's been played to death and it was still working. It's, obviously had a bit of work done to it, but not too many things. I mean, a few capacitors, basically, and the rest of it was still going. So I'm going to go ahead down here and change these and then clean this band switch. And then I guess what we'll do is we'll try and power it up and see what happens. Okay, I went ahead and I changed all the capacitors except for the electrolytics. I still don't know. My gut says if I want to make this reliable, they need to be replaced. And I know that's the truth. So I think I may just go ahead and do it. I don't know. Okay, I changed all the capacitors. A little jury-rigged, but not too bad. Did not have a 33, so I put in a 22 and a 10 in parallel. That's fine, nothing wrong with that. This is a 47 to replace the 50. And then over here we have a 20, I think 22 or whatever at 50. And then this is the other electrolytic. So there's 4 electrolytics in here. What I did here is kind of sketchy, but I had to make an air connection, and I just put some heat shrink over the terminal. And it's actually all right, so I think that'll be okay. So I think what we'll do now is slowly power it up and see what we've got. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn on the power supply there. Turn this on, we'll give it 25 volts. Now this, of course, was working, so we hope it stays working. We're at 45 volts, 50 volts. I hear something. Yep. Oh, there we go.
Here at no additional cost, no matter how your needs change. River's Edge, your plan for wonderful 4455 River. That's 84455
Still dirty.
River'sEdge.org.
Unbelievable.
Victims' families are suing and who made and sold the weapons and body armor used in last year's mass shooting at a Buffalo Top supermarket where a white supremacist killed 10 black people. Attorney Charles Bond.
These 2 lawsuits.
Oh yes, let's not blame the criminal. Let's blame the tool. Let's see what else we can get on here. Alright, well, we're at about 80 volts.
By those who drink it, and by National Grid. Here to help you save energy this season and out.
Money can afford to be lost and some money absolutely can't. Let's say your income greatly exceeds your expenses on a guaranteed lifetime basis and it's hedged for inflation
Wow,
to grow
it's still
over
dirty.
your lifetime. In other words, you and your spouse can never outlive your income. Your income is adequate and your income will increase to offset inflation. Your money, not used for income, might be suitable for risk of loss to potentially take advantage of hypothetical gains. So you might say, any dedicated.
Let's do FM. Oh, we're getting some FM. Come on. Figures. Oh yes, let's just blast it. It's probably a local station.
95.9 The Fox.
Yep.
You rock.
Still needs a little cleaning. So we got FM.
Now,
We got it.
away from the life we live, medieval people celebrated together in a community. There's something much.
Yeah, my friend is going to love this thing. This plays really well. It should. I mean, it has everything you could want in a table radio. You've got an RF stage. You've got the 6V6 output. Got a nice big, I think this is an 8-inch speaker. Power transformer, of course. A nice big bar antenna, which unfortunately means you have to move the radio when you want to, get a better signal. But these are still pretty good. Tone control and a phono connection, so you can play your Post Malone while you're, listening to your 1952 or whatever radio. So yeah, I think what I'll do now is just clean the controls again. Probably let it sit, clean the controls again, power it up again, see if they're any better. And then the next step will be probably to throw a fuse in it. I'll probably do that for him. And, put it back together. Got to clean the cabinet up a little bit. I put this cord on. He included it with the radio. It was on the radio taped together, so I'm assuming he wanted that on there. It is a polarized plug, so for those who care. So in case you're curious, I changed all of the paper capacitors. I decided to put new electrolytics in it because, I want this to work for a long time. I don't want to see it again. That one. I also did, I can't really see it under here, this little blue one down here, which is kind of hidden. There it is right there. That is a 2000 volt rated capacitor. And so that's been replaced.
You guys a story from Massachusetts, and I want you to read the story. Is this
and if rates do stay higher, right on your phone. Jackpocket users have already won over $275 million. Who knows? You could be next. Use code ESPN when you download the Jackpocket app or visit jackpocket.com to get your first Powerball or Mega Millions ticket free. That's code ESPN for your first... Mix Star
.com makes it
one more performing.
easily from your phone.
Jackpot.com notifies you.
So here's the RCA done. It's on AM, getting all the night stations. But it is very sensitive.
But he's not wrong. At least, listen, he led an insurrection or was a dictator who was never... Period. We're focusing...
Risk losing keys by force.
These
More
are
than
strong
400 mail
stations.
carriers were robbed in 2022, according to a USPS
FM,
report.
so we get anything.
Meanwhile,
Wait,
robbery.
that's FM. The antenna really has to, it's in the cord. It's really got to be held up. That's our rock station.
Fairfield County rocks. 95.9 The Fox.
Can't really play that for very long. Anyway, it does work on FM. It just, the antenna is not the best here.
Pets or text pets to 511-511. Text pets to 511-511.
I was able to fix this pointer with a piece of brass. It's not perfect. If I had the time, I'd spray paint that, but unfortunately my friend I'm seeing tomorrow, and that's who this radio belongs to, and he wants it back, so it is what it is. It looks fine. He'll be happy.
Loves expanding your business, evolving
Especially
your
the sound
passion.
is really
We
great.
push what technology can do. So great ideas can